Picture a wide marsh at dawn. I'm MJ, by the way. So it's the Nile Delta. Reeds standing head high, mist drifting right at knee level. And floating on the dark water, half submerged, is this ornately carved cedar coffin. Gold inlay just catching the very first dawn light. The lid is shut tight.
And I'm AJ. Okay, so who's actually in it?
A murdered god. His body literally cut in two pieces, and the story of the woman wading out into the water to find him, that is a 4,500-year-old blueprint for almost every Western religion.
Right, so a single woman wades waist-deep through the reeds. This is Isis. Her hair's totally loose. Her royal silk dress is absolutely soaked through. She's reaching out for the coffin with both hands.
Why is this one single moment so important for us to look at?
Because this ancient Egyptian story about a murdered god and his weeping wife, it became the structural template for Christianity. It entirely shaped the Greek mystery cults. It literally formed the bedrock of Western revenge narratives. I mean, what does this story actually know that humans just keep needing to retell it?
So her husband, Osiris, is inside that coffin. He's been trapped in there for weeks, and he was put there by his own brother. Osiris is trapped by his own blood, betrayed in just the most intimate way possible. And what Isis does next to save him, that is the most retold story in human history.
The Osiris myth is absolutely the most consequential narrative humanity has ever told. It's the original murder, the original resurrection, the original judgment of the soul. And honestly, 4.5 millennia later, almost every religion the West has ever produced is just a variation on it.
Okay, start right at the beginning for me. Who exactly is Osiris?
Osiris is the son of the earth and the sky. He marries his sister, Isis. And Osiris is a genuinely good king. The ancient texts are unusually clear about this part. He pulls the earliest people straight out of the mud. He teaches them how to grow wheat, shows them how to actually live together. He gives them law, builds the very first cities. Egypt under Osiris is described as this absolute paradise before the fall. The crops never fail. The people never go hungry.
The Greek historian Plutarch preserved this myth for us. He wrote, "When Osiris reigned over the Egyptians, he immediately released them from a destitute and savage life." And I'm guessing his brother is jealous. You got it, Set, the younger brother, god of the desert, god of storms, god of total chaos. Set doesn't want order, he wants chaos. So Set secretly measures Osiris while he sleeps. It is such a deeply unsettling, calculating act. Then he has a coffin built to those exact dimensions, beautifully decorated, imported cedar, trimmed in heavy gold.
And then, what happens? At a massive royal banquet, Set unveils the coffin. He announces this game. Whoever fits inside it perfectly gets to keep it. So a bunch of the gods try. None of them fit, and Set just waits. Finally, Osiris lies down. And of course, he fits perfectly. But the second Osiris lies down, the trap springs. Set's accomplices immediately slam the lid shut. They pour molten lead right over the seals. The air runs out instantly, and the good king is thrown directly into the Nile. The heavy coffin floats down the river. It drifts right out to the open sea, washes up the Mediterranean coast, and it finally lodges in a massive tree at Byblos, right on the coast of what is now Lebanon. The tree grows completely around the coffin. Eventually, the local king cuts that tree down. He uses it as a central pillar in his palace. He has absolutely no idea the coffin of a god is hidden inside. Meanwhile, Isis searches the earth for years. Her grief is total. She finally arrives at Byblos in a humble disguise. She extracts the pillar, and she brings Osiris's body home to Egypt to mourn him. She really thinks the worst is finally over.
Oh no. It isn't over? It is not. Set finds the hidden body while hunting by moonlight. He tears the coffin wide open. He cuts his brother's corpse into 14 pieces, and he scatters those bloody pieces across the entire length of Egypt. He throws some into the river to be eaten by crocodiles. He buries others deep in the desert sand.
So Isis begins again. Now this is the moment that makes her the actual hero of the myth. She doesn't just mourn. She rebuilds her husband through sheer will and brutal magic. She searches the entire country a second time. She manages to find 13 of the 14 pieces. The missing piece is the phallus. It got eaten by a fish. So Isis fashions a replacement from solid gold. With the reassembled, stitched-together body laid out, she transforms herself into a kite, like the predatory bird. She hovers over the corpse, and she violently fans the breath of life back into Osiris.
She revives him just long enough to conceive a son, Horus.
The seed of the ultimate revenge is planted in this single, desperate moment.
Wait, so Osiris comes back to life? Like, completely? Not to ordinary life. No, he does not get his old life back. He gets something infinitely heavier. He descends to the Duat, the dark, terrifying underworld. He becomes its eternal king, the ultimate authority over the dead. Every single human soul that dies, from now until the very end of time, must eventually face him in the dark. He sits on a massive throne. Anubis, the jackal-headed god, brings the dead person forward. The human soul stands there, trembling before the ultimate judgment.
The heart is physically removed. It's placed on a grand scale. On the other side of that scale is a single ostrich feather, the feather of Ma'at, the goddess of cosmic truth and absolute balance. This right here is the original concept of heaven and hell being decided by a moral weight. If the heart is lighter than the feather, the soul passes to the field of reeds, eternal, sunlit life. But if the heart is heavy with sin, it sinks. It is instantly devoured by Ammit, a terrifying demon waiting right beside the scale. For the Egyptians, this meant the soul simply ceased to exist, total, agonizing oblivion, the absolute ultimate terror.
And then there's Horus, the son conceived in a single moment of frantic magic. He grows up in secret, hiding out in the dangerous marshes. Finally, he challenges Set to single combat. Battles rage for 80 brutal years across the ancient texts. They literally rip out eyes. They tear off limbs. The violence is biblical in scale. Eventually, though, Horus wins. He takes Egypt's rightful throne. Set is forcibly exiled to the barren desert. The son avenges the father, and cosmic order is finally restored.
Now let's zoom out for a second. Think about it. A loving God, betrayed by his ambitious brother, killed, violently mourned, descends to the realm of the dead, and returns in a new form. A hidden son who returns to avenge his fallen father. A stern judge of souls who weighs every single human life on a cosmic scale. Sound familiar? It sounds exactly like Christianity. Christianity, Adonis, Dionysus, the highly secretive Greek mystery cults. This structural template for literally every dying and rising god myth in the Western tradition existed 2,500 years before Jesus. Early Christian writers themselves nervously noted the exact parallels way back in the 2nd century. These roots are incredibly deep. I mean, Disney's Lion King is structurally Osiris, not Hamlet. Mufasa is killed by his jealous brother Scar in a trap. Simba is exiled but returns to avenge him and restore the Pride Lands. Marvel's Moon Knight has this exact theology beating right at the center of its narrative. Even the common phrase, rise from the ashes, is embedded in the English language so deeply that no one even notices its ancient Egyptian source. Osiris murdered. Isis searching. The body reassembled. Horus conceived. Horus avenges his father. Osiris becomes the eternal judge of human souls. The weighing of the heart against Ma'at's feather. 4,500 years old. It is the massive structural foundation under Christianity, under every Western revenge story, under every resurrection narrative we still tell each other in the dark.
Okay, so that brings us to the next explainer, the buildings, the pyramids. Why that specific shape, rather than just a standard temple?
And the answer to that turns out to be entirely theological, not architectural at all. The pyramids are not graves, they are launch pads.